Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Drop Frames. We got the full crew. We got special guest Shroud. It's November. We've got games coming out. It's a whole new day, whole new time. Welcome back. By the way, did you
Thanks.
have it? Did you talk about where you went, where you were gone? When you missed 2 weeks ago? Is that?
I don't think so.
All right. Well, you went to the petting zoo with me and Max, and
Did. It was fun. We had a good time.
yeah.
The lamb were adorable.
Yeah, it was great. Did you watch out for the hawks though? They'll get your vocal cords. That's the
They will.
yeah.
They'll rip them right out of your face.
You got to be careful about that. You got to be real careful about that. Yeah. Mike, how's it going? Welcome back.
It's going. I mean, it's been. I don't even know.
You know how long it's been? I looked it up. It's been 4 years since you've been here.
4 years.
You were last here on February. Yeah, February 14th, 2018. Valentine's Day for some reason.
The fact that I'm back after 4 years, or that you guys are still doing it. That's a long time. That's a long time. That's a commitment right there. But yeah, no, it's cool. It's cool. I'm always excited to just talk about, I mean, anything really, but especially games. So I'm excited.
Well, we never talked to you about the whole mixer thing. Is that going to be? Are we good to chat about? Like, I'm not. I mean, I will ask you how much you made, but you can dodge the question completely.
Yeah, no, I'm never gonna actually answer a question that I don't want to answer. Like, if you ask me a question I'm not comfortable answering, I'm gonna tell you, and it's not a big deal.
Okay, good to know. How much did you make, Shroud?
Oh,
there you go. Nice dodge. Well dodged.
Great job.
Yeah.
I like that. That was good.
Now, I do wonder, how long was it in terms of prepping for, did you know in 2018 that was a thing, or when did they actually reach out to you to start that whole process?
it happened pretty fast. It was pretty much shortly after Ninja, right? Like the whole Ninja move happened, and then shortly after they were just looking for more creators, and they reached out to me, and it was probably within a month of reaching out, and I had to make that decision. I was like, all right, well, I got to really think about this, and then I commit probably 2 weeks prior to the announcement. Like it happened pretty fast.
Yeah.
Even the commercial, they did the commercial in my house. I don't know if you remember how the commercial looked, but the whole thing was done in my house. They built a giant tunnel inside my house that went from my office to the kitchen. It was crazy. There was 40 people in my house. It was wild.
Did the business aspect of it, did you haggle? Was there back and forth, or was it here's the price, let's go, and you just agreed to it?
No. It was there was definitely haggles and back and forth for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. I mean, a big one was, I mean, we were still talking to Twitch at the same time when we were doing it, so we were kind of talking to both of them and kind of working them both, I guess. I mean, how business is typically done.
Oh yeah.
And I was just trying to get the best deal, and I feel like I did.
Yeah. Well, we don't know if you did. We can't really comment on it, right?
Well, I think I did.
Okay, that's all that matters. That's all that matters at the end of the day. I think if you go watch that 2018 episode, you were in your bedroom. I don't know if you owned that house or that was an apartment. But the door was shut. It didn't have this crazy backdrop that we're seeing here now. Is that plant real, Shroud? Do you water that plant behind you?
They're all real. They're all real. There's a lot more that you don't see.
Oh, you've got,
especially in the other parts of the house. We love our plants.
You've got real money then. If you've got real plants, that's some.
We don't water them ourselves. Let's just say that we don't do it.
Okay.
We have an interior gardener.
Yeah. Fair enough.
I like it.
Yeah. Also, we're just to address the elephant in the room. We're aware of Shroud's mic, as I'm sure at least my chat's popping off about it. We spent some time trying to troubleshoot it and didn't get it fixed beforehand. So we'll just make sure we're not talking over him. That's the main goal here, because it seems that's when the robot shows its face. But it doesn't matter. So yeah, 4 years. I mean, a lot's been. You left the platform. You came back to the platform. Was Mixer the only place that you looked at? I mean, we've seen some other platforms come out. Have you had those talks? Can you talk about any of that? Or are you safe here at Twitch? Safe and sound, I should say.
I mean, there's been a lot of talks. Just kind of everywhere. I don't want to, I don't want to say too much, but yeah, there's definitely talks everywhere. There's a lot of options, even though it might not look like there is. Mixer was just one platform. There's plenty others, and maybe more to come.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on where Twitch is right now, just as a platform? I mean, the past couple of months have been interesting to say the least.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I mean, for me, I just want one thing out of Twitch, and I just want like good quality. I want to have a higher bit rate. I want to be able to do, better resolutions. Like I have 1440 now, and I believe you could stream 1440 on Twitch, but you just don't have the bit rate to complement it, right? Um, so that's the only thing that's missing for me. And what's going on with the rest of Twitch? I'm gonna be honest, I don't really follow it that well. There's a lot going on all the time, it seems like, and I just like it's like one of those things where I'm like, oh great, Twitch is trending. Oh, and then okay, close it. Like I actually am probably very disconnected here.
1 second. You can stream in 1440.
I think so.
You can
Well,
push
they missed this. What?
you can push any resolution to Twitch.
Yep.
You just don't have the bit rate to do anything really above 1080p 60, and even then 1080p 60 is
Oh.
like you kind of have to break the unwritten rule of 6,000 and push 8,000 to really
And
make it look okay.
Basically, you can pretty much set whatever you want, but your pipeline is always going to be consistent, and you can very easily overwhelm your pipeline. In fact, just to check on it, not 4 or 5 months ago, I jacked up my bitrate to 10K to see what would happen. And sure enough, not only did I get actual warnings in my OBS, but they started throttling my bitrate below what I normally do because I was sending them 10K.
Yeah.
So like when I set it at 10K, it was significantly lower quality than if I was doing my normal bitrate. So they do not like that at all.
Yeah. OBS has kind of built-in checks to whatever platform you've kind of selected in the back end to override the bit rate. And so you can just like check that if you don't want that warning like Code just got. And then Twitch itself, the second they see a stream over a certain amount of bit rate, they throttle it pretty fast, especially if you're a larger
Very
streamer.
fast.
Yeah.
Like really instantly.
Yeah. Servicing a ton of viewers rather, it will get throttled.
I managed to get away when I was playing DayZ just for fun. I got away with making my bitrate 15,000 for about a minute. Oh my god, it looked so good.
Yeah.
I mean, it broke very quickly for a lot of people, I'm pretty sure. But it didn't break for me when I was watching it back. Oh my god, it looked amazing. I wish we could do that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's always impressive when you see there was that they did a test a while back with like the AV1 encoding, which is a new type of encoding that some graphics, some GPUs are supporting now, but Twitch is not, and I don't think YouTube is either.
Not yet, hopefully.
Yeah, I'm hoping that they announce something soon. AV1 is a
And-
fantastic codec, and you can
It's just a huge step forward in every way.
It is,
It's
100%,
just a huge
yeah.
step forward.
you can get a better looking like video feed at a lower bit rate, which is great across the board. That you could probably utilize hopefully 1440p and maybe one day 4K at that resolution or at that bit rate rather.
It looked amazing. I looked at the recording of it, that live stream, and they even did like 120 FPS. It was like a 1440, 120 FPS stream. It looked so smooth.
Zeke?
For those of us who don't, or for those of the people out there who don't know, they're idiots. Codec, like, is it? I have I've heard the word before, and I know I've used. I think I use them. I'm pretty sure.
You use H.264 right now or NVENC. They're pretty not interchangeable.
Codecs for
but they're
streamers
different.
are a suppository. First you lube them, and then once you've done
Okay.
oh wait, that's different. Codecs are the little pieces of software that are basically in between what you're streaming and the public at large. So they're basically like the codec is the transitional technology that makes that image get to viewers. The better the codec, the higher quality you can get at the more frames per second. The better the codec, the better the data stream is utilized. Is a good way to think about it. So the more advanced the codec, the more crisp and the quicker the image is at the lower amount of data actually needed to send. It's a lot more complicated than that, but that's like the basic.
Okay. Okay. No, thank
It's
thank you
compression for
the-
video. There you go. It's compressing
Yeah.
and decompressing the video.
Thank you for dumbing it down to everyone out there who didn't understand that. Fools.
I mean, look, that's a majority, right?
They're not exactly the most need to know technology for gamers. It's not a
Yeah.
big deal. So
Yeah. My
Well,
understanding of AV1 is pretty limited too, because it's a thing you set in OBS and then you never look at it until you have to look at it again, is really how most streamers look at it.
Well, I mean, it like people saying like, I'm a professional streamer, like you don't know this and that kind of shit. It's like, I mean, how many stand-up comics do you know that could take apart a microphone and put it back together? And they use that shit every day. Like, come on. Give me a little leeway here.
I mean, I would wager that like 90% of streamers couldn't take apart anything on their PC and put it back together. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's just that's how it is. Most of the bigger streamers too just get pre-builts and they get, they get a refresh every couple of months. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I used to build my PCs like 5-6 years ago, and then I just realized like this is a headache. I'm just getting pre-built. And now I've just been on pre-builts for the past 6 years. I love it.
Yeah.
I used to build computers for a living, and I get pre-built now.
Yeah. I bought a pre-built. Now
So much easier. Absolutely.
I think I might go back to building my own for the next one, but I don't know. We'll see. It depends on how much they're gonna. A lot of that just comes down to money. Ultimately, like pre-builts, they do have a fee on top of all of it, right? You don't just get parts at price. You get the little bit of money on top. So we'll see how it goes. Shroud, are you on a 4090, by the way? Just to clear the room.
No, not yet. Okay, I'll talk about that a little bit here. Okay, I got a 49 cent to me. I got a 49 cent to me, and I was under the impression it was going to be a Founders Edition, but it was through another brand that I shall not name. It's too big.
That bad? Huh?
Way too big, dude. I don't know what they're doing to these GPUs, but all these other brands make the 4090s so much bigger than the Founders Edition. Founders Edition fits in just fine with extra space too. All these other ones, they just don't fit. So I tried, realized it wasn't going to fit. So Tuesday I'll get my actual Founders Edition. So don't have one yet.
Yeah, they're massive. It's absurd. So I'm sure the chat's asking you this. So just for the sake of fulfilling chat's questions, did you get a custom connector cable, or are you just going to use whatever comes with the GPU?
So I'm debating on getting a new power supply so that I could just have the new cable and it could just be easy, a nice little 16 pin. I think it's 16 to 8, right? Just one cable and you're done.
Yeah.
I'm debating on doing that, or maybe just gambling the adapter. I feel like it'll be fine, right? Just look at it, looks good, put it in.
It's a rather small percentage. People also, it's funny how that stuff works on the internet, right? As people who work on the internet, there's been like a handful of cards, and all that's happened is the pins have been a little bit hot and have melted it. There's been no fires. Yeah. There's been people are like, oh, it'll light your house on fire. Hasn't happened. It's not a thing. It's kind of ridiculous how that like started from, oh, the pins are melting to, wow, it's going to light my house on fire type deal. But yeah, the internet's got internet at the end of the day. Yeah, I will be getting the cable replacement most likely from, I think is it Cable Matters has something that everyone is saying is the go-to stuff for that. So it's a thing. It's not a good situation for NVIDIA at all, especially with, I don't know if you guys, you did a sponsored thing for the AMD stream the other day. Yeah. They didn't hold back.
Digs, man. They took a lot of digs. Like the new AMDs, they're better priced. They've got all sorts of, now I don't think they're going to quite get to the degree of the sheer power. Like NVIDIA, kind of like how Intel to AMD is, most of the time NVIDIA to AMD has the sheer power for more money situation. But AMD is going to fit in a normal case. It can use a normal PSU. Like they're better priced. Like it's competitive. It's competitive.
Yeah,
so it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out.
It's a very good showing for sure. Well, it's so interesting to watch the like marketing of that, right? Because like NVIDIA went first. They announced the 4090. It's this crazy card. And then all of this shit happened with the connectors, and like the price is also a big conversation point. AMD went second. They were able to kind of come under that. It gets immediately compared to the 4090, even though most likely we don't have benchmarks yet. Most likely it is under performance in terms of 4090 compared to, I forget what the AMD card is. So it's a wild thing where the marketing teams are just going back and forth with all that because first impressions matter in this situation. So people immediately think, oh, that's the same power as the 4090 when most likely it's not. But we'll see with benchmarks, and that will kind of answer all of that. For the people that don't care about benchmarks, though, they've already kind of made up their mind in the sense of, oh, well, AMD's $600 cheaper and it's the same, blah, blah, blah. So an interesting thing regardless. But we'll see where it goes from there.
Yeah, I don't know what kind of like what I would attribute the nature of it to, but like the fact that I want, the biggest and the best of like, GPUs and all the computer parts and blah blah blah. And then I remember like, dude, you play like mostly like shitty indie 8-bits and like old ass games and shit like that. You don't need none of that shit. I want it though. I want the 4090 just so I can say I have it and not use it. It's like having a Ferrari and not like I got it. I'm not driving it.
It's a status symbol.
Zeke,
It's a status
I've had a
symbol.
4090 since the 11th. My most played games are Marvel Snap, Brotato, and Dave the Diver. You know, things
Dave
that
the Diver's awesome.
really utilize that 49.
Yeah.
You need that power for the big hole, JP.
Dave the Diver's capped at 60 FPS. There's no reason to use it. Marvel Snap is a mobile game that is like running on an emulation on Steam, also capped at 60. It's just, a ridiculous situation. I'm right there with you, Zeke. I don't have anything that's actually pushed the envelope. I think Flight Sim, when I got Flight Sim running with like DLSS 3 in there, and it was pushing around 100 FPS, I think, in 4K. So that looks pretty cool. But
well, to that point, I want to ask, like, Shroud, is it like super important, like, to stay on the bleeding edge of all the tech?
I mean, it depends. If you're competing, like maybe, but if you're competing at a high enough level, you're going to tournaments and you're using tournament PCs, which aren't your computer anyway. So it's weird. Like you can get the best stuff and have the best frame rate and super consistent, but then you go to a tournament and guess what? It's not so consistent anymore. So I think it depends. I think it kind of just depends person to person. Some people like me love to have it. I don't have my 4090 yet, and I'm a little upset about it, but I love to have the highest frame rate because it obviously feels the smoothest. Having higher frame rate equals less input latency, quite simply, right? So I think it's great. Some people might disagree though. All the true competitors out there, the old me's maybe.
Now, like, I gotta know, like, do you either you can say which one? Do you either feel like you play better, or do you actually play better because you have better equipment?
Oh no, you play better for sure. I mean, it's literally like most competitive games nowadays have like actual stats where you can check input latencies and all that stuff. And I mean, you'll see it right there. You'll see it if you cap your frame rate at 60. You'll see your input latency spike to maybe 10, 15 ms. You throw it uncapped, you throw it at 600, whatever your frame rate's going to be, and your input latency is going to go down to 2, maybe 1 if you have a good enough computer, which is huge. I know it doesn't sound like a lot, but it's huge. You can feel it.
yeah, I mean, when it comes to the pros in the world of FPSs, you could definitely feel it. When you're playing Broforce, Zeke, or anything like that, you're not going to necessarily feel that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair. Yeah, no, I know. But this is why I'm asking, because I don't play any games that require or very rarely do I play games that require or benefit from like a super high frame rate. Like 60 is fine 99.9% of the time for me, like on any given day. But every once in a while you'll get a game that you can actually see a benefit. And I was just wondering if, like, how impactful that is to get, over what I don't know what's a decent frame rate for a competitive game these days.
Ooh, a competitive game. I would say a decent would be whatever the monitors are at nowadays, right? So I'd say 360. So if you could manage 360 constant, that's incredible. Not a lot of PCs can do that, unfortunately.
You're using that 360 monitor, right? Yeah. How's that been?
Dude, it's amazing. It's amazing. The main reason why I was worried about swapping to 1440p at the time was because there was 1080 360 hertz monitors out. But now this thing finally came out. Well, I guess it's not out yet, but I finally got this thing, which is 1440p 360, which is amazing. That's exactly what I wanted. I love it.
Yeah.
Makes a big difference in terms of.
I mean, like you go 60 to 140 and you'll notice that the most, right? Once there hits a point when you're going up, like you'll notice it, but it's so minimal.
Is that monitor a DisplayPort 2.1? Or what?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's how they're getting the 1440p 360. That makes sense. Yeah.
Yep.
So what's like literal size of a monitor is like optimal for you?
I would say I wouldn't go over 27. Like right now, these monitors are 27, and it was a little bit of a weird adjustment going from either 24 or 25, which was kind of the competitive standard, and I think it still is. I think the next standard is going to be 27, but it's hard to want to go over that. I don't think I'd be comfortable going to 30, for example. I think that'd be too much.
Are you one of I don't think you are, being that we're looking at your face right now and the monitor's not 2 inches from it, but I've seen a handful of streamers that literally play with the monitor like this, and a lot of pros, right? Like, where are you at with that? How do you feel about that?
I don't know how they do it. I feel like that would make you worse, but somehow that makes them better. You know, I don't know. I mean, I guess you're closer to your crosshair, so like when you're looking for that tiny pixel of a headshot, I guess it helps. But then there's so much more that goes into that. Like if you're playing like a MOBA or you're playing even a shooter, there's like mini maps and stuff that you have to look at in the corners. I don't know how they're doing it. They got to be turning their whole head instead of just their eyes if you're at a comfortable distance.
Yeah, I think if people are wanting to see what we're talking, I think Tins uses, at least when I was watching him, his monitor was like right here in front of his face.
Yep.
It's really strange to look at because you look at his camera and it's just a giant monitor right there, and he's just playing and like absolutely destroying.
Some people like let the monitor touch their nose. That's how close they play.
Yeah,
it's insane.
A little ridiculous.
And and I've seen the pictures of the keyboard and mouse is like behind the monitor. like it's like they're hugging the monitor the entire time they're playing.
Yeah.
Yep.
On the topic of esports, did you watch the league finals at all last night? I saw you were streaming when it started. I don't know if you caught the end though.
I did catch a little bit at the end. We watched the last map.
Yeah, hell of a finals.
I don't play League, so I didn't know what the heck was happening. But it was cool to watch. You know, it's always fun when people are excited about esports, any esport. You know.
Yeah, it was a good weekend for esports too. They had that the league finals, and then the night prior there was Overwatch, which since going free to play, go ahead.
I was gonna say there's also the CS major.
When did that? I didn't even know that went down. Was that Friday or was that Saturday afternoon? Let's go with it was the weekend. It was sometime during the weekend.
I think it started. It might have even started Thursday. I don't know. It started recently though.
Got it. I didn't even realize that was happening. I was so interested in Overwatch because, you know, for so long the viewership on that just constantly dwindled, and now since launching Overwatch 2 and being free to play, their numbers were, you know, very, very high. It was streaming over on YouTube. I think YouTube has exclusive rights for that, but they were at like 200-300, maybe even 400K. I'm not sure what they maxed out at, but there's a lot for them because it has not been that high in a very, very long time. And League, I think, had like 1 million here on Twitch last night, and it's arguably the worst time zone for it to occur in terms of just eyeballs that can watch around the world. That's not in the middle of the night.
I saw the whole section had like, by the time the game ended, the whole section on Twitch, League of Legends had like 3.4 million viewers. Insane.
Yeah. I think in China, didn't the mainstream in China have like 5 million? something like that. Yeah, which was a high for them, which is even more remarkable when you think about the fact that game is 10 years old and it's like hitting peaks still. So people still love it.
For a man.
Yeah.
Now, okay, I don't watch any of this, and I'm not like obstinate against it. It's just not something I ever got into. But are there like now I'm gonna give you a real old reference. Maybe I'll give you a newer reference.
Okay.
Deion Sanders, Bo Jackson. They're two sport. Like, are there crossover people that like are like competitive at the highest level of both? Like, say, CS:GO and League, or Dota and Overwatch, or whatever.
Not that I've seen, like competing at the same time. No, that's a little unheard of
Okay.
right now. Anyway, maybe back in the day when gaming wasn't so big. Now
Sure,
it's just
okay.
it's so competitive that you need to put in all of your time into one game. If you're trying to split it up like that, it's just not going to work.
Okay. I was just curious, like, if there's like, dude, like takes off one hat and he's like, I gotta go to the other thing. Puts on the other hat and flies to another city to compete.
I'm confident that I could pull that off, and tons of other people could pull that off, but not within like the same day period. You know what I mean? Like you'd have to say, all right, like this year I'm gonna go hard in Overwatch 2. I'm gonna go make it to Pro League. Okay, so you spend the whole year doing that. You're doing it, and then you have to commit to something else later. But doing both, like saying, all right, I'm gonna be a Valorant professional player, and I'm also gonna be an Overwatch professional player. Doing both is gonna be really, really hard. Not saying it can't be done. It'll just be hard.
Right. And the reason why I ask is because I know they're not like not even similar games, but they're like fighting games. You have people who are like super competitive in many different fighting games, but those are like the same basic structure. And I'm guessing like these are all like completely different, totally different, like not even the same ballpark kind of structure.
Yeah, I mean, if you're separating it, like that's even harder, right? If it's sure, if you're saying Overwatch and Valorant, that's two shooters. But if you're saying like, imagine like playing Valorant and then trying to play League and competitively at both, that'll be probably insanely hard. Also, I'm seeing a lot of people in chat saying like, "Oh, Formal does Call of Duty and whatever else did Call of Duty does not count." I'm sorry, doesn't count.
Do we want to talk about auto aim on controllers? Shroud, do you want to? I've seen you make this type of statement before, so I don't know if you want to. Your disposition says no right now.
Honestly, I always think it's a really simple argument with the controllers and stuff. Like, it's totally fine. I love crossplay. Crossplay is helping gaming overall, right? But the second you have money on the line, split them up. It's that simple. You're playing for $1 million, split them up. You're playing for $100,000, $10,000. That's it, and then your problem solved. I think, anyway.
Yeah. The problem being to take a step back is that when you have a controller in Call of Duty, the auto aim is very aggressive, and if you're playing on mouse and keyboard, there is no auto aim on that, and so. Argument is when you're fighting controllers versus mouse and keyboard, the controller most likely will win out most of the time because the auto aim exists.
It will not. There's an advantage. That's what you should say. There's an advantage.
Yeah, that's
Like,
probably going to give me the
arguably, there's an
least
advantage.
amount of shit. Yeah, let's go with that.
Well, yeah,
there's more of an impetus for a player of less skill to succeed. Yes,
you're saying that
because the auto aim will
take a
over where
person with the same skills and give them a controller and give them a keyboard. The controller is probably going to do better right away.
Here's the thing though, and because that's something that's said a lot, but the problem is they require different skills. So it's not like somebody that is good with a mouse and keyboard can pick up a controller with auto aim and be really good. A good way to think about it is the auto aim makes great players even better. So if you're really, really good with a controller and you have great awareness and you know exactly where to be and when, then that auto aim gives you a little bit of an edge that a mouse and keyboard person with all the same skills and know-how would not have. So it's like, it's like comes down to math. They get like a +1,
It's exactly what I just said. The fucking hypothetical I just said, Co.
Well,
you said at the same skill level, it would give an advantage. You're like, no, not quite.
No, but you can't.
But I'm going to say the exact same thing.
No, I'm just saying you can't take a mouse and keyboard player and give him a controller and he's going to be good. That's the point I was
It's
making.
not exactly it's not exactly that simple, right? Because like Ko was saying, people have different skills. Some people are better at MOBAs, some people are better at strategy, some people are better at shooters. Same goes for controller and mouse and keyboard. Like you could take the person that has the same skill level, let's say, like they're whatever, they're really good. They're gonna be better on one. They just will. And it's usually which one you played with when you were younger. But some people are just some people just get controller better, some people get mouse and keyboard better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some Shroud, you might know more about this. Someone in my chat said that Apex Legends pro teams require one person to play on a controller because of the auto aim. What?
Yeah.
So in a team of
Apex.
3, one person
Yeah.
has controller.
Yeah, for a while there, during like the start of Apex and the competitive league and all that, they were trying different things, and they noticed that all PC and mouse and keyboard teams just didn't make the cut. They needed somebody to be there for close range because mouse and keyboard is great when you're for movement. It's great for long range tracking, flicks, all that stuff. But when you're in a close range encounter, the auto aim is going to carry you. So what was happening is people started to incorporate controller players, and now it just became like a standard where there's 2 PC players for helping that kind of like poke situation and building your armor up and whatnot. And then you got your CQC close quarter combat controller players that help win those like really, really crazy engagements. And yeah, that's just the standard now. I don't think it's a rule. I just think it's like a standard that players are kind of setting.
You know, honestly, I like that. I like that idea. I wish they would introduce like fucking cricket bats to baseball or something, and like, you know, have someone come in and be like, "We're doing this now." It's like, okay, for bunting, the cricket bat is like super awesome. Okay, so if we need to bunt, we're gonna get Nigel from England over here, and he's gonna play down a good bunt for us.
Jeez, I had not thought of it that way, Zeke. Maybe you're right. Maybe to spice it up.
Go get him, Nigel.
Yeah, be more interesting. Shifting away a little bit from esports and more just Twitch and streaming. I think you have an interesting perspective, Mike, as someone that came up in the world of streaming as kind of like a gameplay focused, gameplay first channel. The past 2 years and even during COVID, we saw the rise of just everything but, right? Like you can make an entire career now of streaming and never play a single game. How do you feel about that? What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, it's cool. I mean, there's more to watch, I guess, but it sucks for someone like me because I definitely felt it. I definitely saw viewership shift towards more, just chatting, IRL, whatever. People just kind of kicking it and having a good time. It's not like I'm mad about it or anything, but it definitely does suck a little bit. I'm excited for a new game to come out, and it's going to shift back because it eventually will. I think it just kind of moves. The wave right now will be IRL, and then the wave's going to come back to gaming when something new comes out, and I'll be there.
Do you think it's going to be like a multiplayer game that has to shift that? Can single player games shift anything like that?
I don't think so. I don't think single player games have enough like replayability, right? Like nobody's going to be playing a single player game for a year or 2 straight. Multiplayer, they will be.
Think about what happened with Fortnite. I mean, Fortnite basically like created multi-millionaires in the period of a month. Like, and we could get to a point where Fortnite, there's a few Fortnites a year kind of thing, but there hasn't been for a very, very long time. As somebody just said in chat, GTA 6 has a big possibility to being absolutely huge, especially the RP scene and things like that. But yeah, man, single player games, it's you've either watched it once and you've seen the story, or you've played it once and you've gotten your stuff across, and then it's just you're done. Like you're done with that. It's like watching a movie. You can't just watch the same movie all the time, but you can play the same multiplayer game all the time, or want to go see the pros and get yourself better and that kind of thing. So yeah, it'll be interesting.
Is there anything on the horizon for you, Shroud, that could be the next big multiplayer breakout?
I mean, no, I don't see any like multiplayer games coming out unless I'm missing something. Mainly just looking at single player games for me. I don't know if you guys know any multiplayers that are coming out.
Apart from GTA 6, I don't. Everything's I feel like How do you feel about like the battle royale era? Do you think it's over in terms of more games coming out to try to get into that? Is it taking the same route as like MOBAs did, right? Where so many MOBAs came out and now the dust has settled and like there's League and there's Dota, and that's kind of where that's at. Is it the same for BRs where it's like Apex, Fortnite, maybe a little PUBG if you're in the mobile realm, like, and it's kind of done, or do you think someone could
Isn't there
still
a Call
jump
of
into
Duty
the?
one too?
Oh yeah, I guess Call of Duty. Yeah, for sure. There's a lot. Thank you, Zeke.
I'm sorry for bringing that up. I know we don't talk about it.
Yeah, I didn't want to
My
upset
bad.
Shroud. That was part of his rider. He said, "Don't mention Call of Duty or I'm fucking out of here," and he said "fucking" that way. It was very aggressive. Uh, do you think there's another BR coming out that could be big?
I think yeah. I don't think BRs are done. I don't see why they would be. It's a very relatively simple genre to make. I just think people need to get a little bit more creative with it. And I don't think it's going to be like a MOBA where, because like BRs are in my eyes, BRs are meant to be fun. They're not meant to be competitive esports kind of games. Now, some of the popular ones are kind of trying to do that, but I think we could just take a step back and we can go back to like the fun BRs, and I think that's what's going to be the next BR, is the next one that just cares about having their players have a good time. So I think we'll have something. I don't know when. Hopefully soon.
What's the best BR for you right now?
Ooh, I don't play a lot of BRs.
Yeah,
I would say I
What do you-
haven't played one in so long.
To interject, what I saw you're playing DayZ last night. Is what is DayZ? Just a survival game? Is that what you would classify it as? Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a survival game. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's I mean, it has BR modes actually. That it, if I remember correctly, it kind of
Started it.
I think didn't the Survivor games kind of start the BR genre, and
Yeah.
then after that, like PlayerUnknown made his actual battle royale and whatnot. But anyway, yeah, survival game, and my favorite BR right now. I'm not playing them, but it's still going to be Apex, like always, hands down. I'm always a fan of Apex, even if I'm not playing it.
Yeah. Trying to think, like, how much time have you not? I don't want to bring it back up, but how much time have you spent with Call of Duty? Right, that seems to be the craze, isn't there? The new BR dropping relatively soon for that.
Yeah, I mean, I played a decent bit of Warzone 1, and I played a lot of Blackout, which was, kind of before Warzone. I think it was Black Ops 3, maybe. But the current one, Modern Warfare 2, I'm not really vibing with. There is a new BR, like you said, coming out, but there's also DMZ, which is coming out, and it's supposed to be their Tarkov kind of game mode. So I'm more so looking at that rather than Warzone 2.
Have they put? I know they've mentioned it, like you just said, but have they really put out all the details for that thing, or is it still?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think it's just quiet. Yeah, but we'll know soon. I think it's like in a week or two.
Oh, it's launching alongside the new BR at the same time. Oh wow. Okay. That could be interesting for sure.
A little weird, right? I feel like you should launch it at least like a couple days prior to give people like let them play that first. I feel like a lot of people are, if it launches at the exact same time, they're just gonna pick one and it's gonna be Warzone, and then they're not gonna play DMZ. So that's a little worrisome. But
Yeah.
if the game mode's good enough, I guess it'll kind of speak for itself.
Yeah,
right?
a lot of confidence in your product in that situation.
Yeah.
I mean, Battlefield did something similar, right? Didn't they launch when that came out? They launched like Battlefield, and then they had whatever their Tarkov system was. I forget the name of it.
Yeah, I forgot to. It was not good.
It wasn't anything to talk about too much, but they launched at the same time is why I bring it up. And maybe that's why. Maybe they just don't see a huge player base flocking to that, because it like numbers wise, I'm kind of talking out of my ass because I don't know what numbers Tarkov does fully, but it pales in comparison to the overall Call of Duty world, I would think, in terms of just raw
sure.
numbers. Yeah,
for sure. But isn't it weird to like make a game mode like that and just half-ass it? Like, why make it at all if you know that the numbers aren't as big as your traditional like casual player base numbers? Why even do it? Like, why half-ass it? I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah. Might just come down to
More-
marketing numbers being allocated and them not, wanting to shift at the end of the day. Because they know one product is going to sell because they have the data for that. The other one's just up in the air how it'll do. If it does well, I guess initially maybe they push some more marketing into it after the fact.
Mm-hmm.
Is it hard to copy a game like Tarkov?
Oh yeah,
I think so.
big time,
Yeah.
and have it done well. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, there's like so many systems in Tarkov that
Tarkov's kind of a bad example. Yeah, it's like the most
Well,
complex. It's just a hugely
reason
complex
why I-
game anyway.
yeah.
Let
Yeah, the
alone,
reason why I
like,
bring it up is because like when the BR thing was huge, like all kinds of BRs were coming out, right? And then Tarkov like had a big, following and everybody was loving it and shit like that. And the only one that I've heard that is even close is that medieval one, Dark and whatever.
Dark and Darker, yeah.
There you go.
there's also like,
and that's the only one that's even close to like giving you the same feeling of Tarkov. And that's why I asked, because I didn't know how, like, it seemed like there should be more and there's just not.
Well, we have there's a lot that have come out that aren't necessarily nearly as big. Like there's the Psycho, which is there's a futuristic take. There's Marauders, which is kind of like a steampunk space take. There are definitely other ones as well. There's Hunt Showdown, which is similar but also has some very important differences. But it's it's a genre at this point. It's a genre, and there's more on the way as well. So it's it's definitely extraction shooters are definitely
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys like I talked about it on the show. I probably have, but I actually, like, before anyone had ever even heard of it, this was many years ago. I actually was at a PAX or a con or something, and I sat down with some of the devs from, like, two of the devs from Escape from Tarkov. They're like, we got this new game we're working on, yada yada. It's gonna be like this, gonna be the most realistic, yada yada yada. And those guys were by far the most serious fucking devs I've ever met in my, like, the 2 years I was doing dev interviews like every month. Like, those guys were just like, there was no like jovialness to them. They were all about the game, and that's it.
Do you remember if one of them was named? Is it Nikita? Isn't that
Nikita.
yeah.
I don't remember
Okay.
names. I really don't. I'm
Gotcha.
sorry.
Yeah, he's
Nikita is renowned for being incredibly like immersed in his product and his world.
Yeah.
He's a pretty great guy.
Yeah. I had a feeling that I was probably the wrong person to do that interview because I was like, asking like the surface questions, and what they really wanted to be asked was like how much, mass per square inch do you need to squeeze a trigger, and how accurate the bullet ricocheting off of an oak tree sounds, like that kind of shit. That's what they wanted to be asked.
That's their
And I was
shit,
like,
man. They love
so
that.
guns are fun. Tell me about the guns.
They love them. They love everything about them, right? And that's kind of what I think. That's when you were asking, like, how hard is it to copy Tarkov? That's why, right? Because like Tarkov gets into that shit, and they have been in development for like 5 years or something like that.
The thing about Tarkov is the developers are all in. So they picked an extraction shooter, which is one of the reasons Tarkov is awesome. But to put it bluntly, whatever genre they would have picked for their game, they would have probably been amazing at the end of the day with the depth and the kind of care they put into it. So, but yeah, they're incredibly serious. They still do streams all the time, and there's huge updates still coming to the game. So it's wild. I'm still going back. I'm going back to it. Hell, when Streets comes out, which is not too much longer, I think.
Yeah, whenever they announce
Yeah, game's amazing.
The next reset, I'm sure everyone will jump back in. It's kind of how it is with Tarkov.
Have you put hours into Tarkov, Shroud, or not your thing?
Yeah. I've played a lot. The past few updates have been kind of underwhelming. I think everybody, like Ko was saying, is kind of waiting for Streets. They're waiting for that new, exciting map, especially because it sounds super ambitious. But I'll be honest, each wipe for me gets a little bit more dull, and it might just be because they're not adding enough, or maybe I'm just sick of the whole wipe thing. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's
fair. I'm wondering if it's like a matter of, like, I know there's certain games that I hear that get brought up like because of new seasons, and like I guess wipes are the seasons of Tarkov, right? maybe it's a matter of doing like the PoE thing and like adding completely new shit, like wacky, weird, like, you know, testing stuff. Although wacky and weird, like I said, probably not a,
Yeah, it
not
goes
a
against their
byword
grain,
for
right?
that dev team, but I mean, it worked for PoE. You know, they add like some shit. Some seasons suck for a lot of people, and some people like just take the fuck off. So I'm wondering if that's the method that they need to, or something like
I
that.
think for me is just the loop that you do, because the game's quest system is very, like, it hasn't changed much. It's very structured in a certain path that like you're supposed to take. So whenever you load up the game on a wipe, you're doing the same exact quest in the same exact order. And sometimes they incorporate new quests, but still you're doing the same quest and going to the same exact spots for it. I feel like that's the problem. I don't want to. You could just say, all right, well, then don't do quests. But that feels like that's the purpose for me. The purpose is to finish the quest and unlock new stuff and kind of feel like I'm completing the game a little bit. But it's always the same exact path. If it like, even if it just like scrambled the quests in random order, that would make me happier than what it is now, playing the same exact order.
They might have already put this information out there, but when that game like launches, right? Whenever it is 1.0, if that ever even happens, are they still going to do like resets? Like what will be the thing to like pull players back in, where resets are the thing to pull players back in? Have they commented on that? Have you seen anything about that, Shroud?
Um, I'm under the impression that I don't think they're gonna do resets. I think it'll just be like a MMO type ordeal where it's just like, this is your character and this is where you're at, and just level it up and get to the end.
Hmm.
But I think it's gonna be the PoE route too, right? Where it's the two different modes where they have like league mode versus standard accounts or whatever PoE does. They'll probably do that. That's probably the smart choice. But I don't think it's gonna get to 1.0. I don't think it's gonna
Seasons. Really, you don't think so?
No, I don't think it's going to finish. I think it's going to get to a certain point where they've put in too much time and too much money, and they're not making enough money, and they're going to cancel the whole thing. And they're going to just like, by cancel, I mean they're going to pick an update, they're going to end it off there and say, yeah, we're done. And then they're going to go make another game. They can't do this forever. They're not gaining that many new players each time new wipes happen. They're not making, there's no microtransactions. They can't do this forever. You know, it's just going to end at one point, and nobody's going to be happy. It's going to suck, but I think that's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean,
Interesting.
Judging by at least viewership on Twitch, which, you know, isn't worth shit really in the grand scheme of things, how many people are playing it, but it does, you know, it has been on decline almost every reset, as opposed to like when it was huge and everyone was playing it. There's not much variance in the gameplay. It is Tarkov is Tarkov at the end of the day. And people.
Yeah, I just think, I mean, if they pivot to microtransactions, sure, keep going. They could make this thing for the next 20 years probably, right? But they're really stern on not having microtransactions, and I respect that, but inevitably that might be the reason why they have to cancel this whole thing and just stop and move on to something else.
Yeah. I guess I'm fishing for a soundbite here, but I am curious for your take on it. What do you think of Doc's game?
I mean, it's not. I've talked about it a little bit before. It's not really a game. There's nothing there yet. You know, it could be something, but as of right now, there's nothing to go off of.
Yep.
So it's kind of hard to talk about.
Yeah. Has he tried to pull you in or talk to you about it at all, or have you looked at anything or played it yourself?
No, I've looked at like some of the streams. I think that they did that event or whatever, and it was just a bunch of, you know, kind of placeholder kind of situation.
Yeah.
But like there wasn't much to go off of. I don't really know what to say, but he never messaged me about it or whatever.
Gotcha. Yeah. Well, that's kind of all the questions I have for Shroud exclusively. Zeke or Ko, if you have any other topics you want to jump into, now we can kind of move into releases and all that stuff.
I did write down 2 questions.
Sure.
First round. First question: what's it like being good at things? There's viewers who want to know.
It's great. I mean, I'm good at one thing, and it's games. So I'm glad I at least have one thing. You probably have more things that you're better at than me. So
You're sweet. I gotta say. uh, eh, there is one actual question that I think that I'm interested in hearing the answer to. Because I have this a lot, and I wonder if you have this too. Is there something like, be it a game or be it like whatever, cooking or whatever? Is there something you're not good at, but you keep trying anyway?
Um,
That you consistently do badly at. I'm saying.
no, I get what you're saying, but I'm the kind of person that when I realize I'm really bad at something and I give it a couple goes, I just like accept that I'm not going to be good at it and I don't go back and do it. It's probably
Okay.
not a good way of looking at it. A good example might be RTS games. There was a point in time where I was grinding StarCraft 2 and I was like, yeah, like I'm bad at RTS. I'm going to go hard and, figure this genre out because it's like my weakest genre. And I got to like gold and gave up. I was like, no, I can't do it. I'm never going to be good at RTS. I've accepted that. It's fine. I gave it a fair shot. I played it for like, I don't know, 2 weeks. But I just realized there was too much depth in that game. And I was like, nah, I'm out.
What
So
race were you playing?
I was playing Terran.
Okay. That matches. That tracks. That makes sense. I can see
I don't
that.
understand how it makes sense. I don't know the game very well.
Yeah. I spent way too much time in the StarCraft 2 world, so you seem like a Terran player. Yeah. Makes sense. Seems about right.
That's actually a good question for my chat. Is there something that I guess to rephrase the thing that I was asking before, something that you enjoyed, like, is there something that you enjoy but were bad, like, but are bad at? Because you said you quit most things. Is there still something out there that you enjoy but you're not very good at it?
That's the thing. I don't like being good at things. So like that's why I quit. Sorry, I don't. Whoa, my bad. I don't like I don't like
This
being bad
just
at things.
in.
Yeah.
That's why I end up quitting them, right? I don't like being bad at them. So honestly, no. If there's something that I quickly realize that I'm bad at, I give up. It's a bad mentality, but I give up and I say I'm bad at this and I just don't touch whatever that is again. We recently got into me and Hannah, we recently got into Warhammer. So we're building our first
Oh
miniatures
shit.
and we're painting our first miniatures. And I'm not a very good painter. I'm not a very creative person. But just yesterday, we painted our first miniatures. And it wasn't that bad. I want to say I did all right. And I'm going to continue pursuing it and see if I can get a little better.
Have you showed it off?
There you go. No, I haven't showed it. We're probably going to take a picture of it like today. And then we're going to do another picture when we finish our whole army and then do like a big kind of group picture. It's fun.
Have you announced what type of army you're building?
Yeah. It's we're starting with the Chaos Space Marines. We're kind of building it together, and then we're gonna pick another set, and then actually play the game after we're done. 2 armies, and we'll play against each other.
Yeah, my wife paints Warhammer stuff for like relaxation. She uses there's some type of thing that you put over the paint after you're done that I'm blanking on. Chat will hopefully help me here soon.
Hacker?
Yeah, there's like a specific thing for Warhammer figures in terms of the finish. Yeah, like I guess a wash or a varnish or a contrast paint or something. And it makes dog shit look great. Is what I'm trying to say. So you should try to get whatever that's called in the Warhammer world.
I think honestly, I think Hannah. I was done my miniature, and Hannah like grabbed it, and she said, "Okay, like let me use this like wash," and it was like really really wet, and I was super scared. I'm like, "Oh God, no, you're gonna ruin it!" And she's like, "No, it's fine," and she just threw this thing all over it, and it just looks like it's just like glowing like HD, and I'm like, "Wow,
Yeah,
that wash helped, whatever it was, shade or whatever it's called."
yeah, I did.
Cheat code.
I was also awful. We did a sponsored stream for I forgot what set it was. It wasn't 40K. I think it was for their fantasy set. And I did awful.
Age of Sigmar?
Yeah. It was the Sigmar stuff, Age of Sigmar stuff when they announced that line, I think sometime the past year.
I remember watching your stream, I think.
Oh God. And then, yeah, mine was awful. And then we put the wash on. I was like, I did that. Like, that's pretty good, right? Like,
Right? Yeah.
I was proud of
everyone
it.
else is probably ugly, but to you, you're like, I made this.
Yeah.
Made this.
It was great. I did have one more question that I meant to ask in the opening. you've obviously come into a lot of wealth. What's like your prized possession out of all that? What's the one thing that you're like, fuck yeah, I can finally get this. I got that. And are you, if you're comfortable talking about it, is it the house?
Yeah, my house. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I mean, I spend all my time in a house. So like for the longest time when I was streaming and, renting from house to house, moving every year because I didn't feel like I didn't find the right spot. To finally say like I found the right spot and be super confident and happy about it is great. That's what I wanted.
Awesome. Great.
Yeah.
What about a luxury item? Like something that you don't need but you want it anyway.
Not really. I don't have many luxury items. I have a couple watches,
Okay.
but they're nothing like crazy. It's not like this, not like $500,000 watch or anything. You know what I mean? I don't go too crazy with it.
It's just
mainly
400,000.
Yeah, just for no, mainly because like I think I don't know. I think it's kind of weird to just like drop hundreds of thousands of dollars on these crazy hot items like jewelry, for example. Like imagine having millions of dollars in jewelry. That just seems crazy to me. And it also kind of feels like you kind of put a target on your back a little bit, right? So even if I did have millions of dollars of jewelry, I don't think I'd ever say it. That's just weird,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
You said that chair, by the way, behind you. I'm just curious. The one over in the corner. I know what that chair costs because I know what that chair is. Do you sit in it often?
Not often, no. But it's very comfortable when I do.
Is it? Oh, okay.
Yes,
right.
It's great. No, it's great. The reason I don't let our cats in this room is because of that chair, though. That's how much value it has. Because I don't want it to lose the value.
Right.
Maybe I'll sell it one day.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely it's about a $6,000 chair. So yeah, it's got some value in it. It's pricey. Zeke, you were gonna ask something?
No, I this was on the previous topic. We're talking about being bad at stuff. So you're saying that there is a game out there that I might be good at. I just got to quit all the stuff that I'm bad at.
Yeah. Huh? Exactly.
Okay.
Focus on one thing, one at a time.
Okay. So I have over 2,000 games in my Steam library. So get rid of all of those and just start new.
Yeah, and then if you want to like really double down on this because you keep bringing it up, play a strategy game. Get better at a strategy game, better than me. And there you go. You say you could say you're better at a game than me. Isn't that great?
Yeah. In 4 years,
You know
we'll have
that
Shroud
might be...
back on, and we can have him fight you in strategy games.
I'm telling you, man, if that ever happens, that's gonna be in my fucking Twitter profile like forever. It's just gonna be like I beat Shroud at like fucking Connect 4.
You would just put I beat Shroud at games.
Yeah,
but you wouldn't name what the game is. It's just I beat Shroud at games.
Better gamer than Shroud.
Better gamer than Shroud. Yeah, and you could just put an asterisk, but never define what that actually meant and what it is. Yeah, that's the plan. Cool. Let's we could spend like 15 minutes. I think God of War is kind of on all of our radars. It's coming out this next week. Reviews hit. Seems to be great, just like the first one. Shroud, are you diving in? Where are you at with God of War, first off?
So I did not play God of War when it came out on PlayStation because I just don't really play console games. I waited for it to come out on PC. I thought it would come out sooner than it did. But hey, it eventually came out. I played it. It was freaking amazing. I loved it. The worrisome thing is the new God of War is on console. I don't know if I'm going to pick it up until it comes on PC.
Can you be persuaded with their, HDMI 2.1 variable refresh rate where it's like 1800K to 2160, so almost 4K, and it's like 40 FPS? Does that sway you enough? No?
It's the 40 FPS that really grinds my gears. Also, isn't the PlayStation 5, doesn't it not support 1440?
They do now. They've patched that in recently.
Cool.
And so it kind of, I think you can push 1440 on it. It's got 1080p. Is it 1080p 120? They have like a billion modes in terms of video that they've put out. They actually did some marketing on it and like made some graphics to try and put all that stuff out there. But you're kind of sitting around, 60-ish if you want to run. I think it's 1100 is like 4K, 1100p up to 4K. It's 60 and it runs pretty much a solid 60. And I think Digital Foundry said they like dipped it at once or twice, but it's not a PC ultimately, right? Like you can't push 4K at 100 frames the entire time.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't be getting that PC experience, that's for sure. But it's not bad.
Yeah, that's what I mean, that's kind of what I look for whenever I game anything, even if it's a single player game. I don't know. I'm weird, I guess.
Yeah. Did you like it, by the way? Are you a huge fan of it? The game itself on PC when you played
Yeah,
it?
no, it was great. Yeah, God of War 1 was freaking amazing. And it kind of bums me out a little bit that I mean, I can obviously play it, but that I might not play it because it's on console. And I maybe I'll try it. Maybe it's not that bad. Maybe I'll open it up and maybe it'll actually run like something that I'm comfortable with. But I remember running, what was it, the Spider-Man game, and it like barely ran 30 FPS, and it was nauseating. Seriously. So maybe I'll open it up, but overall, God of War was incredible.
Yeah. I think I don't want to speak for Zeke and Co, but I want to say it was our game of the year on drop frames. And funny enough, 2018, I guess last year that you were on, that's when I want to say God of War shipped. Zeke, where are you at with like the fandom of it going into this week? Are you through the moon hyped? Are you gonna play it off stream? Where are you at with it?
Oh, that is, yeah, it's 100% an off stream game for me. It's one of those that the first one impressed me so much, and I had such a good time. Like, not that I play games fast, but like it's more so I want to pay attention to it. And a lot of the times when I'm playing a game and streaming it, I'm paying attention. My attention is split between chat and the game itself. And I miss a lot of shit. Even any games that I play, I'll miss shit just because I'm talking to chat and stuff. And this is one of those games that I do want to give my full attention to, and but it delivered. That's the thing. I don't feel bad about that because it really delivers on all kinds of different audio, visual, gameplay, dialogue, all the levels that I want from a game. It really does. And I don't know if that makes me like a bandwagon fan or something like that, but like, fuck it, man, they're so good. So good.
Yeah.
It's unbelievably good. And it appeals to like so many different senses that, yeah, I'm going to definitely take my time with it. Sit in the dark, just one monitor on, which is not usually how I play video games. I have all my monitors on.
I don't even know what that's like. I couldn't imagine. I might be bored with just the game in front of me. I don't know if I could actually handle that.
But also, it's the hype games don't normally do very well for me, like financially or business wise, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Like if everybody's playing a game, like I will be sucking like the dirty, like rotten nipple at the end. Like, can I get some viewers? And nothing. I get zippo.
Yeah, I mean, historically, at least new releases, unless you're in the top, Co probably knows the data better than I do, but top maybe 3-4 spots, you're not going to see any new viewers, right? Like
it's like the top 10ish, but I mean, especially these days when you factor in non-English speaking channels, all that as well. It's a huge audience, huge audience.
Yeah,
and I like my niche. Someone in my chat said I like the idea that if people don't want to watch God of War and for spoilers because they're playing themselves or whatever, like I won't be playing it, so you can always come over here.
Sure. Yeah. Co, where are you at in terms of hype for it?
I'm incredibly excited for it. As somebody who really liked the original God of War, but I was definitely not in the camp where it's like, this is the best game ever made kind of thing. God of War Ragnarok seems to be everything the first one was and more. I did see some very cool commentary about how some of the best moments in the game are in side questing, which I absolutely love. Maybe doing like 100% run of it. And yeah, I'm overall extremely excited to play it. I'm looking forward to not only exploring all the mechanics in the world and everything, but just seeing the culmination of the story. I really enjoyed the end of the first one. I thought the reveal was fantastic. They're going a very cool direction with it. So it'll be cool to see where it goes.
Yeah, I'm interested to hear your take on it as the father of the show, if that makes sense. Because the first one seemed to resonate with you in that way as well, and
Oh,
so
yeah.
I'm curious what this one does story wise to see how it resonates, with people that have kids and people that do not, like me and Zeke. So we'll definitely bring that topic up next weekend. Most of the reviews I read/saw. Said that the combat is pretty much the same. They have a couple new tricks, new tools, and things like that. But that the story for this one is like king, and that it is a better story all around than the first one. And I thought the first one was great to begin with, so got me pretty excited to see all that. I'd be very careful. Also, a lot of the reviews, and I mean a lot of the reviews, have some spoilers in them.
There's also full story spoilers going around.
Yes, there's also that.
Like everything.
Yeah, the game,
every bit of the game that can be spoiled is being spoiled.
the game sold early, and they actually put out like some tweets saying, "Hey, we're sorry. Be careful. Block the words that you want to block." Type deal. So that's all out there.
Turns out,
And
kind of weird. A lot of people are really shitty.
Yeah.
I know that's kind of wild, but
Oh, we didn't.
here we are, man.
I didn't even think. So Twitter, huh?
Oh god.
Yeah,
Uh,
I think.
Twitter's
It's a place.
Twitter's been fun the past week.
That's a word
Sure, that's
you could use to describe it.
I'll apply fun to that. I don't know where
I
I'm going
personally
with this.
don't want to talk about it. I'd rather not talk about it.
Yeah, are you tired of hearing
the fact
about
that
it?
it took me so goddamn long to get that fucking check mark, and it was so many like contacting so many different people. Like, how about you? Can you do it? How about you? Can you get? And now they're just fucking giving it to you for $8. Oh, that's just wonderful. You don't have to submit any fucking articles from the internet with your fucking real name in it. You don't have to get you fucking 20 people to vouch to say that you are who you are. You don't have to give them a fucking license or fucking ID or nothing.
Yeah,
Zeke's fine with it.
yeah.
cool with
Zeke's
it.
he's
Zeke's cool with it.
he's dealing with it in the moment. It is what it is.
He's seeing his therapist about it.
Yeah. I guess the two questions that I'll ask about this, and we can go wherever we want topic wise. Are you going to pay the $8? I will not. If you're fearful of saying one way or the other, I don't think I'm going to pay the $8. Only because
my problem.
it's just going to put a target on your back of like, wow, this guy paid the $8 to stay verified.
Dude,
Like,
I
don't wanna
already
deal with that.
am. I got Twitter Blue.
you did Twitter
before Elon even bought it. So like I write so many dumb tweets. It's so dude, for those that don't know, if you have Twitter Blue and you hit send on a tweet, a timer pops up. And it's like, you have 30 seconds before we send the tweet. Do you want to unsend it? And that has saved my ass countless times since I've gotten Twitter Blue. Countless times already. So, I mean, like I was already paying for it. So for me, I don't really care. But at the same time, like so many people are like, yeah, man, I can't wait for this check mark to go away. So I'm not, sucking Elon's big marbles. And it's like, but I want to be able to unsend my tweets, man. Like can I?
Well, those
turn
are
the
two
check mark
different
off
things. Are
and
they?
still
Are they not?
pay it?
Or is it being
No,
folded into
they're all
one?
rolling into one thing.
Oh,
So basically
okay.
what he's doing is he's moving the verified to Twitter Blue and increasing the price from what I understand.
Is it
So,
$3
like-
for Blue a month?
Well, dude, not only that. So he said on some talk show, of course, going around Twitter, and who knows if it's actually him, because now there's about a bajillion Elon Musks on Twitter.
Which
so who
is
knows
great.
if this is really anymore.
That's awesome. I love it's fantastic
but
to watch.
I heard that he said somewhere on like an interview or something that your timeline is going to start prioritizing the people that are verified. And he made the comment where it's like, yeah, if you're not verified, if you're a bot or something, you'll be way down there at the bottom. So it's like, it's going to completely change the platform, like 100% change the platform.
Yeah.
So it's what's happening to Twitter. It's a mess, dude. Twitter is a mess. It was already a mess. And now it's like taking a spoon and just mixing it up even more. It's just I put up a tweet a little bit ago.
I saw your
that
tweet.
said,
I stayed away from
what
your
do we
tweet.
do after Twitter? And here's the thing. I'm not one of those people that's like, oh, Elon bought Twitter. I'm out of here. I'm moving to Canada. I'm not one of those people because I don't care. It's a platform. I don't care who owns it. My tweet when I said that was more like, what are we going to do when Twitter implodes? What are we going to do when Twitter doesn't work anymore? What are we going to do when Elon wakes up one day and says, you know what? I spent too much on this and it's not profitable. Off switch. That's what I meant by my tweet. Like, what do we do after Twitter? What do we do if we wake up and Twitter's gone? Where do we go next? And of course, a lot of people are like, he'll never do that. He's paid too much. But dude, when you think about how much he paid for that company and how much he actually owns, and when it gets to a point where it's just losing him money every hour, he's the kind of person where he just makes decisions on a whim. So I absolutely feel that he at one point may just be like, screw this, I'm out. And just like sell it to a hedge fund or turn it off for now and fix it and deal with it later. Like I absolutely think that he would do something that drastic and stupid. I could completely see him turning it off and be like, everyone go to Parler or some other company I made a deal with because they're, they do more that I like. So go to there. I'm just going to turn off Twitter.
Yeah.
Because he absolutely can do that. He's a troll. He's one of the richest trolls in the world. And he loves trolling people, and he knows it'd be an ultimate troll. So absolutely something like that can happen. So that's what my tweet meant. My tweet was just like, what do we do when there's no more Twitter?
Yeah.
Because I seriously think that's a possibility.
So do I. 100%. It's been weird. I've spent a unfortunate amount of time thinking like, if Twitter didn't exist, I don't know if I could contact Shroud, for example, right? Because like,
True.
me and Shroud interact on Twitter or DMs, and that's how we communicate. And so essentially if Twitter didn't exist, I'd have to like go in his stream chat and spam him until he answers me.
Hey, Shroud! You like sub to him 10,000 bits.
I dropped like 100 subs. So he would turn and notice me. Hey, you want to come on DF? Yeah. So it's like, that's what I worry about is the amount of like, connections on social media through Twitter that I've made, and that being the primary way of communicating with them. Because I don't know if it will just, die at a snap, if they'll just turn it off. But a lot of those people are leaving. I've seen a ton of people that I communicate with that are like, hey, I'm going to be leaving, blah, blah, blah. Any mutuals, check me out on Discord, Mastodon, and whatever.
We'll find my Mastodon link, yeah.
Yeah. And so that's what I worry about is just the communication aspect of it. Because you don't really, I didn't really think about how much I like use Twitter for communication. I don't, in terms of, it's probably better because I think a lot of people for Twitter just use it as like, in a weird way, their therapy. They're like therapist. They just like put out feelings and whatnot into the ether, and like, sure, you can use it forever you want to. But for me, it's like communicating with people that I would miss. So
I've often crowdsourced my own feelings.
Yeah.
How do I feel about this?
Yeah.
Tell me how I feel about this. Thank you. I am angry and a little embarrassed, I guess.
Well, I mean, like the echo chamber, that term's been thrown around about 1 billion times in the past week, right? But it's true for the most part. We all kind of create our own little echo chambers on any social media, on anything really, in most places.
That's life.
Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I love how they put a
terrible.
shitty name on like making friends. It's like,
Yeah.
you like, how do you make friends? You like some of the same things.
Yes.
That's an echo chamber. It's like, okay, if you want to call it that, sure.
Yeah.
Like we go to horror movies because we like horror movies. Oh, echo chamber. Why don't you go to fucking rom-coms? Because we don't like them.
Sure. Yeah. Shroud, any thoughts on the whole Twitter stuff?
I don't know. I never really thought about it from Ko's POV of just like, you're right. He's a troll. He could just say, fuck it, I'm burning money. Let's just get rid of this thing. Who cares? I did not think about that at all. And that's a very, very, very likely possibility. But he's also going to try to make it as profitable as possible. And I think
he does love money.
I think he'll figure it out, right? I hope, because I wouldn't want to see Twitter just disappear. I don't care about the whole verification thing. What I do care a little bit about, which I didn't know until I think yesterday, I thought that the $8 verification was still going to be like vetted. I thought you'd still need to. Yeah, apparently you just pay the $8 and you've got
It's a
it.
sub-service. It's a subscription service. It's Twitter Blue, which anyone can sign up for.
I think why not? I like the Twitter Blue that it is now, where you can have it. Like, why not have the Twitter Blue and you can subscribe for what you have currently, and then to get the verification badge, you should still be verified. I think it's really weird that you can just get a badge. I didn't know that it worked like that.
I think the big thing with Elon, and I'm not gonna lie here, this point absolutely does have some merit. The point is that Twitter got incredibly political with how it handled a lot of that stuff, and because of that, they tainted the whole thing. And now because of that, I think he wants to stay away from it. So as far as I understand, he doesn't plan on doing any type of verification. Correct me if I'm wrong, chat. But like, and he doesn't plan on doing anything like that. He wants it to be a literally platform that anyone can do anything on, and then he wants to have rules that people just have to follow those rules. But the way that he's going about it, obviously, is incensing the people who went through the previous process, even though it was completely political at the end of the day. So it's just, there's no easy way to fix it, but he doesn't like the way that it was done, and now he owns the company, so he's just going to do what he wants to do in that regard.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the whole okay. Somebody said in chat, he said there would be an additional identifier for people that were already verified. So there's a second tag that will go under people's names that is the new verification method. People are saying, okay, so it looks like there may be some system.
There has
would be there.
It doesn't make any sense for them to come out with $8 thing and then anyone could be verified. That literally makes no sense. They're gonna have even what he's trying to fix of all the bots and the copycats. You're just gonna have more of them. So there has to be some form of verification. That'd be crazy.
So
that is weird. And that brings up a whole, like, okay, but the whole point was getting rid of the blue check mark. But so I guess he's just gonna make his own blue check mark, and it's not gonna be blue anymore. Is that what I'm hearing? Like, now, see, that throws the whole thing on its head. Like, why would he make any of these changes in
Money.
that case? Like, why? I guess, but I mean, why wouldn't you just? Okay, anyway, I don't. Okay.
So is he taking away the non-paid checks?
Yes.
Like, people are like, okay, so
The
those are
current
going
verified
away.
mark. Okay, from what chat is saying, the current mark that indicates if you're verified is going to be moved under a pay subscription service that anyone can get, and then there will be a new tag that takes the place of what was the politicized blue mark system. So he's basically changing what the current verification mark does into something else, and then making a new verification mark that he will then oversee. Right?
I didn't know about the second verification thing.
And it's going to be a red check.
Oh boy. I'm sure. Okay. Talk about political. There you go. Yeah. Oh, it's all just fucking, it's just a mess. It's just an absolute mess. And the worst part, like talking about politics, Tuesday's a pretty big day here in the US. And for all this to like be going down now where a lot of people get their information from Twitter as primary news source. Kind of awful timing.
I forgot about that.
Yeah. Yeah. So
I don't know if I'm gonna either stream. I might just get a bottle of whiskey and stream the whole fucking thing and just watch it and drink the whole time and like, you know, I did this one year, I think. I did a drinking game where it's like if you know such and such happens, take a drink, or such and such happens. Like there's websites for it.
Yeah. So you would be like the opposite of Hassan Abi. Where like he'll be providing news updates and everything happening in the US. You would just drink to the news.
Oh, I will be providing sentence fragments and fart noises the whole time. Like this fucking guy.
We're gonna go over to the board and
That's
check
what
on
I'm thinking, that guy. Woo!
check on so and so county, and you just throw your bottle of liquor at the camera.
Like, I broke my monitor. Damn it.
Great. Yeah.
No, I
Fantastic.
voted. I already voted. I put my ballot in.
There you go.
We have the
early vote.
everybody gets mailed one where I live. So.
Yeah. Yeah, just cosplays like Wolf Blitzer or someone.
Oh God.
Be great.
Who's the worst political pundit out there? I want to be that guy. Or that lady.
I think
Whoever
answering that is a political response.
Fair enough, you know, fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah. You'd have to do half and half to appease both audiences. You'd have to go like Wolf Blitzer or Tucker Carlson, right? Like both the same.
I'll be
time.
Wolf Tuck.
Wolf Tuck.
I don't know any of these people. I don't
Yeah.
know what.
Yeah,
Good.
are you that
Good.
removed from like the
Yes.
I guess the world or politics is maybe to be
Not
more
necessarily
precise.
the world, but
Ye-
for the most part, like yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
So Zeke can be Tucker Carlson. AP, you be Wolf Blitzer. I want to be Alex Jones. Can I be Alex Jones?
Oh, that guy.
You know
Oh,
Alex
there we
Jones?
go.
Okay.
Yeah, I know him.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
great.
You all you have to do to do that is just dress up like the Monopoly guy on that card where he's like pulling out empty pockets like "Meh."
All right, with that comment, let's take a break.
Oh, Jesus.
We'll come back. We'll talk what we've been playing. I know Shroud's been playing a bunch of stuff. Ko hasn't been on in a month, so he's been playing a ton of stuff. We haven't really talked about Gotham Knights at all. That was a newer release. Zeke's always
That was
playing a ton of games.
A release.
Yeah. You did a sponsored stream for it, right, Kosa? You played it?
I did.
Okay, I
Yes,
know.
I
I think
did.
all three of us did. I think Shroud played after the sponsored stream a little bit. I know. I don't know if you finished it. I played a little bit after sponsored stream, so we'll jump into that and have some discussion on it. It should be a doozy.
May I point out that if you want to see the smile of a politician, just rewind it like a minute and watch Ko's smile when he says "I did" when he asked if he played Gotham Knights. Like I did. Like there it is. That's a face I'll vote for.
Well, we'll see what we have to say about Gotham Knights and everything else that we've been playing. When we come back, we'll be right back. We'll drop frames. After that, we'll see you then.